After my wife insisted I head home early from the work party, I was leaving when her moans from the toilet reveal. Be me, 31 years old Richard. Living in Denver, working as a software architect. Married to Claire, thought we had the perfect life. The music is blasting through expensive speakers. The cocktails taste like pure sugar. Hate every moment of being here. Claire literally dragged me to her company's Christmas party. Been avoiding these corporate events for years. But this time was different. She didn't ask. She demanded I come. It's important to me, she said. Her voice left no room for discussion. That's just how Claire is. When she wants something, she gets it. The venue is ridiculously fancy. Some pretentious rooftop restaurant with crystal walls. Can see the snow falling over the city skyline. Everything looks perfect from up here. But I feel trapped. Claire is in her element, though. Standing in the middle of the crowd, throwing her head back when she laughs. Everyone gravitates toward her like moths to a flame. Always been like that. I'm stuck by the bar, nursing some overpriced winter cocktail I don't even like. Watching my wife work the room. She's wearing this black sequin dress. Catches the light every time she moves. Should feel proud to call her my wife. Instead, there's this knot in my stomach. Can't shake the feeling something's wrong. She's barely said 2 words to me all night. Only thing she did say was, "Don't just stand there looking miserable, Richard. Try to socialize." Socialize with who? None of her co-workers give a damn about me. I'm just the husband, the forgettable plus one. Claire disappears into the crowd. Leaves me standing here like a prop. 1 hour passes, then 2. Watch her float between groups. Her champagne glass never empty. Her laugh getting louder with each drink. My patience is wearing thin. Think about leaving. Could just text her to get a rideshare home. But something keeps me here. Call it instinct. Call it stubbornness. Can't bring myself to walk away. Around midnight, decide I've had enough. Finish my drink and check my watch. Start heading toward the exit. That's when I hear it. Muffled sounds coming from the hallway, near the private restrooms. First think it's just drunk party guests being stupid. But then hear it again. Soft, breathy, unmistakable. Blood runs cold in my veins. Creep toward the sound. Heart's pounding so hard can barely breathe. Party noise fades away as I get closer. Just hear rhythmic thumping now. And whispers. Low whispers. Recognize one voice immediately. It's Claire. Freeze in place. Just staring at the closed bathroom door. Mind racing. Trying to convince myself I'm wrong. Maybe it's not her. Deep down, know better. Handle moves. Jump back against the wall. Door cracks open. Guy steps out first, adjusting his tie like nothing happened. Don't recognize him, but he's got this smug look on his face, like he just won some prize. He doesn't see me. Then Claire walks out. Her hair's a mess. Expensive lipstick all smudged. Face flushed red. Not from dancing. She's laughing under her breath, muttering something I can't hear. Then she turns, our eyes meet. Her smile disappears instantly. "Richard," she says, voice sharp and defensive. "What are you doing here?" Just stare at her, mouth dry, fists clenched so tight knuckles turn white. Try to say something, anything, but words won't come. Then she does something unbelievable, rolls her eyes at me. "You're overreacting," she says. Brushes past me like I'm nothing, like I'm the one who did something wrong. Watch her disappear back into the party. Stand there stunned. Don't know what I expected. Maybe an apology, maybe tears and begging for forgiveness. Instead, she treats me like an inconvenience, like I ruined her night by catching her. The audacity hits me like a freight train. Legs start moving on their own. "Claire!" I call out. Voice cuts through the party noise. People turn to look. But she doesn't stop. Already halfway across the room, weaving through the crowd like nothing happened. Push past people. Ignore their startled looks. Ignore their complaints. She's heading for the bar, about to grab another drink. Like she didn't just walk out of that bathroom with another man. Chest feels tight with rage. Vision tunneling on her. Can only see her. Everything else is a blur. Finally, she turns around. Expression mixed with irritation and something else. Not fear, just annoyance, like I'm embarrassing her in front of her precious colleagues. "Can we not do this here?" she hisses, voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. Grabs my arm. Her nails dig into my skin. Forces a fake smile for people nearby. "You're making a scene." Can't help but laugh. Comes out bitter and unhinged. "Are you kidding me right now? I'm making a scene? What the hell was that back there?" "Richard," she says through gritted teeth. Leans in close so only I can hear. "Lower your voice." "Why?" I snap back. "So no one finds out what you've been doing? Think they'd love to know what their queen gets up to in bathrooms." Her face goes pale. For a second, think I finally broke through. That wall of indifference. But then she straightens up, eyes narrow into slits. "You don't know what you're talking about," she says, voice ice cold. "And even if you did, this is neither the time nor place. Go home, Richard." You've clearly had too much to drink. Just stare at her, completely stunned. She's not just denying it. She's gaslighting me, acting like I'm some drunk idiot imagining things. Before I can respond, feel hand on my shoulder. Turn to see one of her coworkers. Tall guy, broad shoulders. Polished smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Everything okay here? He asks. Voice polite but loaded with passive aggression. Makes my blood boil even more. Everything's fine, Claire says quickly. Voice sickly sweet. My husband was just leaving. Shake his hand off my shoulder. Anger boiling over completely. No, I'm not leaving. Not until you explain what the hell I just saw. Coworker glances between us. Clearly uncomfortable. Maybe you two should take this outside, he suggests. Great idea, I say. Glaring at Claire. Let's go outside. Let's talk about this right now. For a moment, she just stares at me, jaw clenched tight. Then downs her drink in one go, slams glass on the bar, marches toward the exit without a word. Follow her out. Cold winter air hits like a slap to the face. Cities alive around us. Cars honking. People laughing. Nightlife humming. But it all feels distant. Muted. Can only focus on Claire. Standing few feet away, arms crossed. Her breath visible in freezing air. Are you happy now? She snaps. Spins to face me. You've embarrassed both of us. In front of my colleagues. God, Richard, why can't you just stop? I interrupt. Voice shaking. Don't want to hear your excuses. Want the truth. Who the hell was that guy? Her lips part, but no sound comes out. For a second, think she might tell the truth. But then her face hardens. Crosses her arms tighter. It's not what you think, she says finally. We were just talking in a locked bathroom. I shoot back. That's funny. Because it sure didn't sound like talking. She rolls her eyes. Like I'm being unreasonable. You're blowing this out of proportion. I don't have time for your insecurities right now, Richard. Go home. Sleep it off. Feels like being slapped in the face again. She's not just lying. She's dismissing me entirely. Refusing to acknowledge what she's done. You really think I'm that stupid? I say, voice low and dangerous. You think I didn't hear you? Didn't see you? For a moment, her mask slips. See flash of panic in her eyes. But it's gone in an instant. Fine, she says. Throws up her hands. Believe whatever you want. I don't care. With that, she turns on her heel. Starts walking away, leaving me standing there in the cold. Like some idiot, watch her walk away. Her heels clicking against the pavement. Sound like gunshots in the quiet night. Every nerve in my body screams, follow her. Drag the truth out, no matter how ugly it is. But can't move. Legs feel like lead. Mine's a mess of disbelief and fury. Fine, believe whatever you want. Her words replay in my head, over and over, each time cutting deeper than the last. She didn't even deny it. Not really. Just brushed me off, like I was some pesky fly, buzzing around her perfect life. Don't know how long stand there, frozen in place. Before door swings open behind me, sound of party spills out onto street. Voice breaks through the haze. You good, man? It's one of Claire's coworkers. Younger guy. Met him once or twice at company events. Has that look? Someone who doesn't want to get involved, but feels obligated to say something. I'm fine, I lie. Voice comes out flat. He hesitates. Eyes flick toward direction Claire went. She left pretty quick. Everything okay between you two? Want to scream at him. Tell him to mind his own damn business. Instead, just shake my head. It's nothing. Go back inside. He doesn't need to be told twice. With awkward nod. Ducks back into building, leaving me alone again. By time gather nerve to follow Claire. She's gone. Check the street hoping to catch glimpse. Sidewalk completely empty. Probably grabbed a cab. Disappeared into city like a ghost. Pull out phone. Call her number. Rings once. Twice. Then straight to voicemail. Try again. Same thing. She's blocked me or turned off her phone. Either way, she doesn't want to be found. Fury bubbling inside almost too much to contain. Want to punch something? Anything. Force myself to breathe. Don't lose it. Not yet. Head back to the venue. Not done here. Inside party still in full swing. People laughing, drinking, dancing. Oblivious to scene that just unfolded outside. Eyes scan the room. Searching for him. The man, the smug bastard who walked out of bathroom with my wife. Doesn't take long to spot him. By the bar, laughing with group of guys. Tie loosened, whiskey in hand. Looks so damn pleased with himself. Like he doesn't have care in world. March over, heart pounding in chest. He doesn't notice me until standing right in front of him, blocking his view. Can I help you? He asks. Raises eyebrow, voice calm, casual, like I'm some stranger interrupting his good time. You can tell me what the hell you were doing with my wife. Keep voice low but seething. His smile falters, just for a second, but then it's back. cocky and infuriating. I think you got the wrong guy. Don't play dumb, I snap. I saw you. I heard you. You and Claire in the bathroom. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Group around him goes silent, eyes darting between us, like watching car crash in slow motion. He sets drink down, expression hardening. Look, man, I don't know what you think you saw, but you're out of line. Out of line? Take step closer. Fists clenched at sides. You're screwing my wife, and I'm out of line? Room seems to freeze. Conversations die. All eyes turn to us, can feel weight of their stares, but don't care. Let them watch. Let them see what kind of man he really is. Keep your voice down, he says. Tone shifts from dismissive to warning. You don't want to do this here. Why not? I shoot back. Afraid someone might find out what you are. A liar. A home wrecker. His jaw tightens. For a moment, think he might swing at me. Part of me hopes he will. Want him to give me a reason? Instead, he leans in, voice barely above whisper. You don't know what you're talking about. Go home and sort this out with your wife. He turns to walk away. Grab his arm. Spin him back around. Don't walk away from me, you... Richard. Claire's voice cuts through tension like knife. Turn to see her standing by door. Face mask of fury. Stop it, she snaps. Storms toward us. What the hell do you think you're doing? What am I doing? I shout. Anger boiling over. What the hell are you doing, Claire? With him? Her eyes dart to the man. Then back to me. For first time, she looks genuinely rattled. You're making a fool of yourself, she hisses. We'll talk about this later. Let's go. I'm not going anywhere until I get the truth. Voice shaking with rage. Tell me, Claire. Right here. Right now. What the hell is going on between you two? Room dead silent. Every pair of eyes fixed on us. Claire looks around. Cheeks flushed. Lips pressed into thin line. Finally grabs my arm. Pulls me toward exit. Fine, she says through clenched teeth. You want the truth? Let's go. Without another word. Drags me outside. Door slams behind us. Muffled hum of party replaced by cold silence of night. Claire spins to face me. Face mix of anger and desperation. For first time, she's not in control. And it shows. Are you happy now? She hisses. Voice low and venomous. You've humiliated me in front of everyone I work with. I humiliated you? Shot back incredulous. Are you out of your mind, Claire? Do you hear yourself? You're caught. And this is what you're worried about? She flinches. Just slightly, but recovers fast. Caught doing what exactly, Richard? Demands while crossing arms. Talking to a coworker? Is that the crime now? Don't you dare, I say. Point finger at her. Voice trembling from effort to stay in control. Don't you dare try to twist this! I heard you. I saw you. Do you think I'm stupid? She rolls her eyes. Lets out sharp laugh. Oh, for God's sake, this is ridiculous. Do you even hear yourself? You're acting like some paranoid lunatic. Stop lying, I explode. Voice echoes down empty street. Just stop. I know what I heard. You and that guy in the bathroom. The sounds, the whispers. Don't insult me by pretending it didn't happen. Her face changes then. Mask of indifference slips. For split seconds, see guilt in her eyes. But vanishes quickly as it came, replaced by cold, calculated defiance. Fine, she says. Voice dripping with contempt. You want the truth? Here it is. Yes, I was in bathroom with Peter. Yes, we were talking. And yes, it got a little heated. Stomach drops hearing his name. Peter makes it all so much worse. Not just faceless stranger anymore. It was him. But it wasn't what you think, she adds quickly. Steps closer. Tone shifts to something almost pleading. It was nothing, Richard. A stupid mistake. We had too much to drink. Things got out of hand. But it didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything? Repeat words. Voice hollow. Do you even hear yourself right now? You cheated on me, Claire. You betrayed me. Do you have any idea what that feels like? She sighs, exasperated, like I'm being unreasonable. Richard, I'm sorry, okay? I made a mistake. But do you really want to throw everything away? Over one stupid incident? Over something that didn't even go that far? Her words hit like slap. Didn't go that far? You expect me to believe that? After what I heard? She throws hands up in frustration. What do you want me to say? That I'm a horrible person? Fine, I screwed up, but it's not like I've been running around behind your back for years. It was one time, one mistake. Audacity of it all makes blood boil. One mistake? Voice rising. You expect me to believe this is first time? That this is only thing you've been hiding from me? She glares at me, jaw tight. What do you want from me, Richard? Want me to get down on my knees? Beg for your forgiveness? Will that make you happy? Stare at her. The woman I thought I knew. Realize don't recognize her anymore. The way she stands there, unapologetic. daring me to make next move, like she's become stranger overnight. No, I say finally, voice cold. What I want is for you to tell me the truth. All of it. No more half-ass excuses. No more lies. The truth, Claire. Or we're done. She hesitates. Eyes flick away from mine. Just for a moment. When she looks back, there's hardness there. Haven't seen before. You want the truth? She says. Voice steady, almost taunting. Fine. You're right, Richard. I haven't been happy for a long time. And yeah, I've been spending time with Peter. Because unlike you, he actually listens to me. He makes me feel alive. Her words hit like sledgehammer, knocking air out of lungs. Can't speak, can't think. Do you have any idea what it's like, she continues, voice rising, to feel invisible in your own marriage? To be stuck with someone who barely notices you anymore? That's not fair, managed to choke out, voice shaking. I've always been there for you. Always, she laughs bitterly. Being there physically isn't same as being present, Richard. And honestly, maybe this is on you as much as it is on me. Stagger back, like her words physically struck me. The audacity, the cruelty, blaming me for her betrayal. It's too much. You're unbelievable, I say, voice barely above whisper. Absolutely unbelievable, she shrugs, face set in infuriating mask of calm. Believe what you want, but don't pretend like you're some innocent victim in all this. With that, she turns, starts walking away again, leaving me standing there. In the cold, shattered and alone, she walks away, back straight, pace deliberate, like she hadn't just ripped my life apart. My chest feels like it's caving in, mix of fury and heartbreak, clawing at my throat. Claire, I shout, voice raw. Don't you dare walk away from me again. She stops, turns slowly, expression unreadable under streetlights. For a moment, we just stare at each other, space between us crackling with tension. What do you want from me, Richard? She asks, voice calm, too calm. You already made up your mind? Nothing I say is going to change how you feel. I want answers, I say. Step closer, fists clenched at sides. Real answers, not this deflecting, not this garbage about feeling invisible. I want to know how long this has been going on. How many times? Who else? She lets out short, sharp laugh. Shakes head. You think this is some big conspiracy? That I've been running around town with every guy who gives me attention? You're paranoid, Richard. You're always looking for something that isn't there. Don't gaslight me, I snap. I'm not paranoid. And you know it. I caught you, Claire. I caught you. Stop pretending like you're the victim here. Her eyes flash with anger. Takes step toward me. You want the truth? Fine. I've been unhappy for years, Richard. Years. And maybe I didn't handle it right way, but you sure as hell didn't notice. Did you? You were too busy with your own life to care about mine. I didn't notice because you never said anything, I shot back. How the hell am I supposed to fix something? If you don't tell me it's broken, she laughs again. Bitter and hollow. You think a couple of date nights or compliments would have fixed this? It's not that simple. We've been living like roommates, Richard. You don't touch me. You don't talk to me. Unless it's about bills or groceries. You checked out long time ago. And I'm done pretending that's enough for me. Her words hit me hard, but I'm not buying it. Not entirely. So your solution was to cheat? Ask voice low venomous. To sneak around with Peter behind my back. Instead of I don't know. Talking to me? Working on this? Did you even want to fix it? Or were you just waiting for excuse to blow it all up? She flinches. Mask slipping for just a second, before pulls it back in place. You don't get it, she says quietly. You'll never get it. No, Claire, I get it, I say, voice shaking with barely contained rage. You want out? Fine. Say it. Be honest about it. But don't you dare stand there and blame me for your choices. You made this mess, not me. Street silent except for occasional car passing by. She looks at me for a long moment, expression softening, in a way that almost makes me believe she feels remorse. Maybe you're right, she says finally, voice barely above whisper. Maybe I did make this mess, but it's not just mine to clean up, Richard. It's ours. And I don't think you're ready to hear that. Don't, I say, voice cracking. Don't you dare try to turn this into something mutual. This is you. For first time that night, her composure cracks, lips tremble. For a moment thinks she might cry, but instead turns away again, shoulders tense. Go home, Richard, she says, voice shaky but resolute. We'll talk when you're ready to have a real conversation. Stare at her, hands trembling, with urge to grab her, shake her, make her see what she'd done. But can't, because deep down no, she's not going to give answers I need. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. She walks away, disappearing into night, leaving me standing there with nothing but echoes of her words and weight of marriage. That feels like it already died. Don't go home. Can't. Idea of sitting in that house, the house we built together, while she's out doing God knows what, with God knows who, makes me feel physically ill. Instead, I drive no destination, no plan, just endless stretches of highway as city lights blur into streaks of orange and white. Her words keep looping in my head, twisting themselves into daggers that stab deeper every time they resurface. You don't touch me. You don't talk to me. You checked out long time ago. Was that true? Had I been so blind, so distant, that she felt no choice but look elsewhere? No, that was just another excuse. Flimsy shield to deflect blame. She could have said something. She could have been honest. Instead, she chose betrayal. Thought sends fresh wave of anger through me. Hands tighten around steering wheel. Need answers. Real ones. Not half-truths she threw at me. Like breadcrumbs to keep me chasing her narrative. Only one way to get them. Pull into gas station parking lot. Heart racing as open my phone. Her text's been eerily quiet for weeks. No longer filled with casual updates or random memes we used to send. Have access to her phone account. Something we set up years ago. For convenience. Log in. List of recent calls and texts right there. Glaring at me in cold clinical detail. Peter's name everywhere. Dozens of calls. Usually late evening. When thought she was working late. Or at gym. Even more texts. Some marked as pictures. Timestamps aligned perfectly. With nights she came home distant. Excuses tired and half-hearted. Scroll further. Peter isn't only one. There's another number. Unlisted. Area code don't recognize. More calls, more texts. Stomach churns as click through them. Piecing together timeline of deceit. Stretches further back than want to believe. Bathroom wasn't one-time mistake. It was tip of iceberg. Hadn't seen until too late. Stare at phone. Hands shaking. Part of me wants to smash it. Against dashboard. Destroy the proof. Pretend this isn't my reality. But can't. Need to know. Dial unknown number. Rings twice. Man's voice answers. Casual and groggy. Like I'd woken him up. Hello? Don't speak right away. Throat tight with rage when finally find voice. It's low and cold. Who is this? There's pause. Then sound of rustling sheets. Who's asking? I'm Richard, I say. Words clipped. Claire's husband. Silence that follows is deafening. Oh, man finally says. Tone shifts from confusion to guardedness. Listen, man. Save it, I snap. I know what's been going on. I just want to hear you say it. How long? He sighs. Kind of sigh that carries no remorse. Just annoyance? Look, I didn't know she was married at first, okay? She didn't tell me until later. By then we'd already... He trails off. Meaning, clear. Already what? I growl, knuckles white against phone. Look, man, I'm not trying to stir things up. She said things were complicated between you two. That you weren't really together anymore. Laugh bitterly. That's the story she gave you. That we're not really together. Well, yeah, he says. Getting defensive now. And honestly, way she talked about you sounded like you barely cared about her. Like you were more roommate than husband. His words hit harder than expected. But push sting aside. How long? Ask again. Voice flat. 6 months, he admits after pause. But it's been over for a while now. She ended it weeks ago. Look, man, I'm sorry, okay? If I'd known. Hang up before he can finish. 6 months. 6 months of lies. Of sneaking around. Of making me believe everything was fine. While she carried on her little side life. And that was just him. God only knows how long things with Peter been going on. Or if there were others. Sit there in parking lot. Head in hands. Trying to make sense of it all. The woman I loved. The woman I trusted with everything. Had been lying to me for months. Maybe years. And for what? Because I didn't touch her enough? Because I didn't talk to her? The way Peter or some random guy did? It wasn't enough. None of it was enough to justify what she'd done. But as anger churns in chest, another thought creeps in. Quiet but insistent. What if this was just beginning? What else was about to uncover? And more importantly, was I ready to face it? By time get home, adrenaline from call is burned off, leaving hollow ache in chest. And gnawing pit in stomach. House is dark. Silent. Like it's waiting for storm. I know is coming. Claire's car isn't in driveway. She hasn't come home. Have no idea where she is. It doesn't matter. Not ready to see her yet. Head straight to our bedroom. Flip on light. Stare at space we'd shared for years. The bed, the photos on dresser, the stupid decorative pillows she insisted we buy. All of it feels foreign now. Like it belongs to someone else's life. But there's one thing need. Her laptop sits on her side of desk. Screen dark but taunting. Not proud of what about to do. But after everything discovered tonight, pride doesn't matter anymore. Want the truth. All of it. And if she's not going to give it to me, I'll find it myself. Takes minute to guess her password. Her childhood dog's name followed by birth year. She's always been predictable like that. Screen unlocks, and I dive in, opening her email, browser history, messages, anything that might fill gaps of stories she's so eager to hide. Doesn't take long. Emails are worst. Dozens of threads with Peter, filled with inside jokes, late night plans, and of course, pictures. Don't open photos. Don't need to. Captions are enough. Thinking about last night. Can't wait to see you again. You looked so good in that dress today. Could barely concentrate. When are you telling him? That one stops me cold. When are you telling him? Timestamp from weeks ago. Long before bathroom incident. Long before tonight's disaster. She wasn't just cheating. She'd been planning her exit. Crafting story to make herself look like victim. While leaving me in dust, slam laptop shut. Breathing ragged. Hands trembling. But not sure if from rage or devastation. Probably both. Can't sit still. Pace bedroom. Running hands through hair. Trying to calm whirlwind of thoughts. Tearing through mind. But it's no use. Every time close eyes. See her face. Hear her laugh. Imagine her with him or with stranger from earlier. Walls feel like closing in. Grab coat and walk out front door. Let cold night air slap me awake. Streets quiet. Kind of eerie silence. That comes when world is asleep. And you're only one left awake. With your demons. Don't have destination. Just walk. Mind replaying every interaction with Claire. Over past year. Searching for signs missed. Late nights at work. Sudden interest in going to gym. Way she always had phone glued to hand. Screen tilted away from me. It was all so obvious now. But back then, I trusted her. I believed her. That trust is gone now. Replaced by something darker, heavier. End up at park near our house, sitting on bench under dim glow of street lamp. Cold seeps through coat, but don't care. Stare at ground. Trying to piece together next move. Leaving her feels like obvious choice. She destroyed everything we had, lied to my face. Disrespected me in ways can't even begin to process. But thought of walking away, of giving up on life we built, fills me with kind of grief. Not ready to confront, need to talk to her. Not to argue, not to yell, but to finally rip off masks she's hiding behind. And see truth, the whole truth. And if she won't give it willingly, I'll take it. As sit there, phone buzzes in pocket. Pull it out, half expecting it to be Claire, finally ready to face music. But it's not her, it's Peter. Message is simple, but hits like bullet. We need to talk. Stare at screen, pulse pounding in ears. Don't know what he wants to say, but not about to ignore him. Fine, reply. Fingers moving before brain can catch up. Where? He responds almost immediately. Sends address to bar. Other side of town. Not place I've ever been. But don't hesitate. Stand up. Slip phone back in pocket. Start walking toward car. If Peter wants to talk, I'm ready to listen, but not leaving without answers. Bar tucked into side street. Kind of place doesn't advertise itself. But somehow always has crowd. Neon sign buzzes overhead, casting faint red glow over entrance. Park across street. Sit in car for minute. Staring at door. Chest feels heavy. Air in car too thick to breathe. Peter wants to talk. But about what? Is he about to confess everything? Gonna beg me not to ruin his life? Or is this some kind of power move? Him marking his territory. Now that cracks in my marriage exposed? Don't care. Whatever he wants. I'm ready. Get out of car and walk in. Smell of stale beer and cheap cologne. Hits me moment open door. Place dimly lit. Music low and unremarkable. Scan room until spot him. Sitting alone at table in corner. Beer in front of him. Peter looks up as approach. Expression unreadable. Gestures toward empty chair across from him. Richard, he says, nodding in greeting. Sit down. Lean back in chair. Arms crossed. Start talking, I say. Voice cold and steady. He sighs. Rubs back of neck. I didn't call you here to fight. I think you deserve to know. What's really going on? That's funny, I say. Let out bitter laugh. Because my wife doesn't seem to think. I deserve the truth. So go ahead, Peter. Enlighten me. He flinches at edge in my voice, but doesn't argue. Instead takes swig of beer. Leans forward, resting elbows on table. This thing with Claire. It's complicated. Spare me the cliche, I snap. How long? His eyes drop to table. Almost a year, he admits quietly. Words hit me like punch to gut. But don't let it show. So bathroom wasn't first time? No, he says, shaking head. It wasn't. Clenched jaw. Nails digging into palms under table. And you didn't think it was important to let me know my wife was screwing around? With you for an entire year? I didn't know she was married at first, he says. Voice defensive. She didn't tell me. I only found out few months, and by then I was already... He trails off. Meaning clear. Already what? I ask. Voice sharp. In love with her? Is that what you're going to say? He looks at me. Expression conflicted. Yeah, he admits. I fell for her. I know it was wrong, but I couldn't stop. Stomach twists, but keep face impassive. And what about now, I ask. You still in love with her? He hesitates, fingers tapping against table. No, he says finally. Not anymore. Things started falling apart between us. Few weeks ago. She told me she didn't want to see me anymore. Why? He gives humorless laugh. She said she wanted to fix things with you, that she didn't want to throw away her marriage. Stare at him. Mind racing. Claire had said none of this to me. No apologies, no attempts at reconciliation. Just anger, deflection, and blame. Did she tell you about other guy? I ask suddenly. Voice like ice. Peter blinks. Surprised. What other guy? Let out bitter laugh. Shaking head. You really thought you were only one? God, you're dumber than I thought. His face darkens. For a moment think he might snap back. Instead just slumps in chair. Looking defeated. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, he mutters. She's complicated. Complicated? I repeat. Voice dripping with sarcasm. That's one way to put it. We sit in silence for a moment. Weight of conversation settling between us. Finally, Peter speaks again. Voice quiet but firm. Look, man, he says, meeting my eyes. I'm not trying to make excuses. For what I did, I messed up. But Claire, she's not who you think she is. She's been playing both of us. Stare at him. Anger warring with something else. Something darker? What do you mean? He leans back, expression grim. She's not just looking for attention, Richard. She's looking for control. She played me against you, just like she's probably playing you against someone else. She doesn't care about either of us. She just cares about herself. His words hang in air, heavy and suffocating. Want to argue, to defend her, but evidence piling up. Claire isn't just cheater. She's manipulator. And suddenly realize this isn't just about affairs. This is about person she truly is. Person I've been too blind to see. Stand up. Grab my coat. Thanks for the chat, Peter, I say. Voice cold. But think I've heard enough. He doesn't try to stop me. As walk out of bar. Cold night air hits like slap. Not just losing my wife, losing illusion of life I thought I had. Drive home in silence. Streetlights streaking past, like faint reminders of world. That moved on while mine fell apart. Peter's words echo in mine. She's been playing both of us. She doesn't care about either of us. Want to reject it? To cling to idea that there's still some version of Claire worth salvaging, but evidence piling up like bricks. Each one crushing image I'd built of her over years. When pull into driveway, her car's there. Stomach twists. She's back. Step inside house. Dark except for faint glow of kitchen light. Claire sitting at table, glass of wine in front of her. Her phone on counter next to it. She doesn't look up when walk in. Gaze fixed on swirling red liquid in glass. You've been busy, I say. Closing door behind me. Voice steady. Too steady. Her head snaps up. Eyes narrowing. Where have you been? Out, I say simply. Kick off shoes. Toss keys on counter. Where were you? Her lips press into thin line. I went for drive. I needed to clear my head. After everything. Everything? I repeat. Let out bitter laugh. You mean getting caught with Peter? Or fact that your little side game is falling apart? She stiffens, hand tightening around glass. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, come on, Claire, I say. Lean against counter. Peter told me everything. A year with him. And you think you can still play innocent? Her face falters for a moment, but then recovers, expression hardening. So you met with Peter, she says, tone cold. What did he tell you? That I'm some kind of monster? That I'm only one to blame for this mess? You are to blame, I snap. Don't twist this around. You lied to me. You cheated. And not just with him, apparently. How many others, Claire? How many more? Her eyes flash with anger. Slams glass down on table. I don't owe you confession, Richard, she says sharply. You're not saint in this marriage either. Don't pretend like you've been some perfect husband. Oh, don't you dare, I say. Voice rising. Don't you dare try to spin this around on me. I've been here. I've been faithful. And you've been out there, screwing around with anyone who gives you attention. She stands up, chair scraping loudly against floor. You think it's that simple? That I just woke up one day and decided to cheat? Do you have any idea what it's like? To live with someone who doesn't see you? Who doesn't make you feel like you matter? I didn't see you, I shot back. I didn't make you feel like you mattered. What the hell do you think I've been doing? All these years, Claire? Paying bills? Planning trips? Trying to make life with you? That's not enough for you? It's not about bills or trips, she yells. It's about how you make me feel. Or don't, rather. You've been so caught up in your own world, Richard. You didn't even notice me slipping away. Her words hit like slap, but this time they don't stick. I've heard enough excuses. Enough blame shifting. This isn't about me, I say, voice low but firm. This is about you. About choices you made. The lies you told. You destroyed this marriage, Claire. Not me. For a moment, fight drains out of her. Sinks back into chair. She looks up at me, eyes glassy but defiant. Fine, she says quietly. I made mistakes, but don't act like you're some victim here. We both know this marriage hasn't been working for a long time. Stare at her, chest tightening. If it wasn't working, I say, you should have said something. We could have fixed it. Instead, you decided to burn it all down. Behind my back, she looks away, fingers tracing edge of her glass. Maybe I didn't think it was fixable, she admits. Her words hang in air, heavy and final. Take step back. Wait a moment crashing down. I can't do this anymore, I say. Voice barely above whisper. I can't keep pretending. There's something left to save. Her head snaps up, eyes wide. Richard, no, I say. Cut her off. This is done, Claire. You made your choice. And now I'm making mine. She doesn't respond. For first time all night, she looks small. Like weight of her actions finally hit her. But don't care anymore. Turn and walk out of room, leaving her sitting there. In glow of kitchen light, cracks in her facade finally visible. Bedroom feels colder than should. Even with heater on, closed door behind me. Lean against it for a moment. Let silence settle over me. Chest is tight, mind racing. But for first time all night, feel strange clarity. This is over. Grab duffel bag from closet. Start packing. Clothes. Toiletries. Laptop. Just enough to get through next few days. Each item toss into bag. Feels like piece of my life falling away. Life I thought was stable. Secure. A lie. Door creaks open behind me. Turn to see Claire standing there. Face pale and drawn. She's not defiant woman from earlier. One who spat excuses and deflections like venom. She looks different now. Tired. You're leaving? She says. Voice barely audible. Not question. Yes, I say simply. Zip bag shut. She steps into room. Hands clasped in front of her. Like doesn't know what to do with them. Where are you going? To clear my head, I reply. To get some space from all this? She nods. Gaze drops to floor. I didn't think it would end like this, she murmurs. Neither did I say. Sling bag over shoulder. But you made that decision for both of us, didn't you? Her head snaps up. For a moment, thinks she's going to argue again. Instead, shoulders slump. Lets out shaky breath. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she says. I didn't mean to hurt you. Laugh bitterly. Shake head. Claire, you didn't just hurt me. You destroyed us. And for what? For Peter? For whoever else? Was it worth it? She doesn't answer. Silence between us stretches, heavy and suffocating. Richard, she says finally, voice trembling. I know I messed up. I know I broke your trust, but I still love you. My chest tightens at her words, but anger flares up just as quickly. You don't get to say that, I say. Voice sharp. You don't get to say you love me. After everything you've done, love isn't just word, Claire. It's actions. And your actions told me exactly how you feel. Tears well in her eyes, but don't care. Can't care. Not anymore. I'll stay somewhere else tonight, I say. Walk past her toward door. You can have house for now. I'll figure out what happens next. She reaches out. Fingers brush my arm. Richard, please. Can we just talk? Really talk? Stop. Look down at her hand, then back at her face. For a moment, feel flicker of something. Pity, maybe. Sadness for woman I thought I knew. For life we built that's now in ruins. But it's not enough. We've been talking all night, I say. Step out of her reach. And all you've done is lie, deflect and blame me. For your mistakes, I'm done, Claire. Can't do this anymore. Her tears spill over then, but turn away before they can affect me. Walk down hall, through living room, out front door. Let it close behind me, with soft click. Night air freezing, biting at skin. As stand on porch, staring at street ahead. Don't know where going, but doesn't matter. Anywhere better than here. Get in car and drive, grip tight on wheel. Weight of everything pressing down. This is the end, and for first time all night, feel strange, bittersweet relief. Motel check-into isn't much. Flickering sign, dim light in lobby. But it's enough. It's quiet. For first time in hours. Alone with thoughts, sit on edge of bed, staring at duffel bag, tossed onto floor, my life condensed into few items. Thrown together in anger. Can't tell if want to cry or scream, so don't do either. Instead, sit there. Let silence stretch around me. Claire's words replay in mind. Like bad song on repeat. I still love you. Was it true? Did she mean it? Or was it just another desperate attempt to hold on to something she'd already shattered? Does it even matter anymore? Pull out phone. Scroll aimlessly through messages. Nothing from her. No apologies. No explanations. Just silence. And that's when it hits me. I've been waiting for her to fix this. Waiting for her to take responsibility. To show remorse. To make me believe there was something left to salvage. But why? She'd made her choices. She'd shown me who she was. What more did I need? Set phone down. Lean back against headboard. Close eyes. For so long defined myself. By our marriage. By being Claire's husband. Thought it was foundation of my life. Something unshakable. But now see it for what it was. Foundation built on sand. Truth is painful. But it's also freeing. Don't need her anymore. Don't need her lies. Her manipulation. Her half-hearted promises of love. What need is to figure out who I am without her. Next morning, wake up early. Pale light of dawn, filtering through thin curtains. Grab laptop. Start looking up divorce lawyers. Thought makes chest tighten, but push through it. This is my next step. Find lawyer. Sort through logistics of splitting everything. Get her out of my life. For good. Not naive. No, it won't be easy. Claire isn't kind of person who lets go without fight. But done fighting for someone who wouldn't fight for me. As drive back towards city. Feel strange sense of clarity. Road ahead uncertain. Filled with pain and messy decisions. But it's mine for first time in years. Not living in her shadow. Not chasing her approval or begging for scraps of her attention. I'm free in that I realize the start of something new and something better.